Sorry about that. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever and wherever you are watching. I forgot to unmute myself for a second there. So the day's starting off well. Sorry about me sitting a little bit in the dark. I have a migraine, so I can't tolerate the light in my eyes right now. But I didn't want to not come on today because then I would have to do double the shows next week. How are you all doing today? Okay, Toteman says at some secluded rendezvous that overlooks the avenue, he stepped into the streets and walked up to this girl. He had a gap tooth made of gold. He had an earring in his nose. Hey, Lady Shasha in chat. Is that from K7? Yeah. I'm not going to sing that because I just can't do it today, but I think that's K7, Come Baby Come, if I'm not mistaken. Might be a different K7 song, but I know it's K7, who used to be one of the three singers in TKA, if you know your freestyle music. Homemaking Latte is here. They say, hey, y'all. Before I get started, I want to remind y'all that I am going to be on Master of Chaos TV this Friday at 9 p.m. And the show is called Full Moon Friday Fright Club. And we're going to be discussing Arcade and Trancers 2. Again, that's going to be on Master of Chaos TV this Friday night at 9 p.m. Also on Saturday on my other channel, What Did I Just Watch? We're doing an Akira live stream where we'll be discussing the classic anime film Akira. And in case you missed it, Hood Podcast is up. We did this yesterday. It premiered last night at 9 p.m. But we discussed a bunch of different viral stories, including FN Mecca's grand opening, grand closing, um, floating trains in China, and what else? A story about a man trying to sell human organs on a Facebook marketplace. That's the best way I could put it. I was trying to like think of how can I clean this up. There's really no way of cleaning that up. Tony Man says, "Move it like this." Sorry about the migraine. Thanks. Oh, but I was K7, so I did guess the right artist with the wrong song title. What made you choose Acura? I don't know. It's just something I've been wanting to talk about because it's a very interesting movie, and it's both sci-fi and horror and anime. So I just thought that was a pretty cool subject. And plus, I wanted to bring back my sci-fi Saturdays because on my other channel I used to do sci-fi Saturdays, and I'm bringing that back. And so I wanted to bring it back in grand fashion. And of course, Akira is a classic sci-fi movie. But let's get into 90 Day Fiance UK, season 1, episode 6. And the title of this episode is uh, Please Don't Embarrass Me. Chris says, "Hey, Shasha. Hey, chat." And Tonaman says, "Speaking of interesting, let's get on with Richard, please." Yeah. As you requested, starting with Kathleen and Richard, who are doing this wonky little dance in their intro video. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Let me get my notes because I watched this on Sunday and it's now Tuesday and my memory is crap. So actually, I don't need this on right now. I only needed it on at the beginning so I can be comfortable now. Richard and Kathleen they're leaving the hotel and they're going to see Kathleen's parents in town. And they're going to stay with her parents for a couple days. And her parents' dog is so cute. This dog right here is so adorable. It reminds me of my sister's dog. My sister has a dog that looks similar. It's half Pomeranian, half Lhasa Apso. I think that's how you say it, but it's a cute little dog like that. So they arrive at Kathleen's home. And if you can recall, Kathleen helps to take care of her mother because her mother is suffering with Parkinson's disease. She asks him on their way there to not be loud when he drinks. And she also asks him to please don't embarrass her, which it's Richard. So they get to the parents' house and the dad is like legit not trying to look at this dude. Like he is not feeling Richard. He's not trying to look at Richard. Richard's, being Richard. Her brother comes out and he seems to get along with her brother. Okay. So far. And it just seems like a really warm, friendly environment. They seem like really sweet people. I think I had oh yeah, that's right. The bed situation. They have the bed delivered, and I guess Richard was planning on putting the twin beds side by side to make one full bed in the room, but the room was too small for that, so they had to stack them on top like the bunk beds that how there's bunk bed sets that you can either use them as twin beds side by side or you could stack them and make them bunk beds. This is that type of situation, and since the room is so small, they have to stack them up as bunk beds. And you can see her father saying he should be up there so he'll fall. I think he meant to say I think the translation might be wrong. I think he's meaning to say he shouldn't be up there or else he'll fall. That's what I'm thinking because I don't see well, maybe her dad does want him to fall. I don't know. Later on, Richard goes out to lunch with Kathleen and her friend. Did I take down her friend's name? Jen, yes. And he immediately starts talking about cat cleaning for him. And what did he say wife stood for? It was like work. I forgot what the I was for. The F was for effing, and the E was for etc. What was the I for? I can't remember what the acronym was, but his acronym for wife was it was just some ultra. Oh wait, here's it was just some ultra misogynistic ish. Richard always smirks and seems so disingenuous. Yeah, he does. It seems like he's trying to put on an act because he thinks that it's comedy, but it's not funny to anyone. And it hasn't been funny since 1982. Like, do you not realize we're in 2022? Like this, the like we were done with the misogyny jokes when Andrew Dice Clay did them, and at least he was funny when he did them because he was literally playing a character. Like the Dice character was not the real him. That was just a character that he put on stage. You're on a TV show trying to affect this character, and it's not in the right capacity. Number one, and number two, I don't think it's going to work for you because the time has passed for that type of humor. Tony says his wife and anagram made me say "holy shit" out loud at work. Yeah, and he said that aloud. Oh, by the way, when he said that, Jen's face. Well, first you can see Kathleen's face, but Jen's face really. Look at this. That was all of us. That's all of us. Richard is. Fomiculati says Richard is weird. I don't know how else to put it. Chris says him talking about having sex in front of her dad was cringe. Everything he does is cringe. Yeah, no filter, no sense of what's the word I'm looking for? Like he doesn't think about his self-image at all. It's weird. Him and three people have the same issue. Richard, Big Ed, and Belial. You don't recognize when people are looking at you and calling you an a-hole. Like, you don't recognize this. You don't see how you are the problem. I don't understand it at all. Anyways, Jen tells Richard that when Kathleen goes to the UK to please don't treat her friend like a slave. Ironing, that's what the I was for. Fomiculai says the best thing for him to have done is not talk. Yes, he shouldn't have said anything because he opened his mouth. Like my grandfather used to say, it's best to be thought a fool than to open your mouth and prove it right. Tony Man 100 says washing, ironing, effing, and etc. Yeah, I don't know where he got that from, but it's just it's not funny. It's gross. Nobody likes it. Let's see here. Later on, Kat was preparing, or I keep saying Kat instead of Kathleen, was preparing chicken feet and chicken intestines, which was interesting to me. This is a picture of the chicken intestines that she put on a skewer there, because it's very similar to a food that some Black Americans, specifically from the South, will eat. My mother used to make these, but then she stopped cooking them when she realized none of her children are going to eat these, and they're called chitlins. My mother used to make chitlins, and I tried them once when I was 10 and I never tried it again. It's just not my taste. And my sister doesn't like them and my brother doesn't like them. No, none of us like them. So my mother stopped cooking them because like there's no point in cooking a pot of chitlins that no one else is going to eat. But this is like Filipino chitlins on a skewer. So to Richard's credit, he didn't make a big deal out of it. He just, ate it. So that's good because we've seen on other 90-day Fiance, even this exact season, didn't like 1 or 2 episodes ago, Katie was afraid to try octopus because she doesn't eat anything that comes from the sea, which she somehow compared to rats, which I don't understand. I don't understand how you can make that comparison. But anyways, or that guy that was on either season 1 or 2 that went to the Philippines. He was a McDonald's manager, but refused to eat the roast pork in the Philippines. And I'm like, number one, roast pork in the Philippines. If you have a Filipino person who knows how to cook the roast pork, I've been to Filipino parties. That roast pork is banging. That's number one. And number two, you work at a McDonald's. We're not about to let you be a food snob. Not just work. He was a manager at McDonald's. Faux Minky Latte says chitlins was good. Not to me. It's an acquired taste. That, and I remember my grandfather used to eat pig's feet. I couldn't get into the pig's feet. Now I can get into the pickled sausages and Who's the worst now, Katie, Birdie, or Richard? Definitely Richard, because um actually her name is Bridie, but I keep calling her Birdie because she's a bird. She is, I would say Richard is the worst. Birdie is the second worst. And then Katie's not even the third. The third worst would probably be Shaun. Shintori Shaun, who, is can't stop lying. He's a lying liar who lies. Katie is just like, know how I should have described her last week when I was talking about how she says these comments and they come off very ignorant. And when I say ignorant, like I said last week, I mean it in the true definition of the word, lacking knowledge, not someone who's specifically trying to be rude, not someone who's incapable of learning, just someone who doesn't have the information. Katie comes off more like Rose Nyland from the Golden Girls, or Sinclair from Living Single, which, by the way, I said Living Single is a remake of the Golden Girls, which therefore makes Friends, which is a remake of Living Single, also a remake of the Golden Girls, because each character, each time, we went from Rose Nyland to Sinclair on Living Single, and you can't tell me that oh god, what's her name? That the girl who played Tootie on Different Strokes player wasn't like, she was like Blanche, and then Queen Latifah's character was like Dorothy. Anyways, then on Friends you had two. You had Phoebe and Joey that both could be the Rose Nyland. But anyways, oh yeah, and Overton. Overton is also another Rose Nyland character. Yeah, it was the same archetype, same type of situation, but the funniest will always be the Golden Girls because it's the original, and also those actresses are amazing, and I got to see them, well, two of them, and in Miami on stage live, and it was Rue McClanahan and oh, what is her name that played B. Arthur? They are amazing stage actresses, and I think that's one of the things that made that show so great. How did I get off on this tangent about the Golden Girls? Talking about Katie and how she's like Rose Nyland. She doesn't mean to not know shit. She just doesn't know shit. Same as All in the Family. Yep. And Three's Company, Chrissy Snow. Chrissy Snow was like that too. That's a better comparison than even Rose Nyland, because even Rose knew certain things, but Chrissy Snow, that's Katie. Katie is a British Chrissy Snow. If you've ever seen Three's Company, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, let's see what else is going on here. Yeah, the father's again trying not to look at Richard. Who can blame him? This is at the dinner that they were having, where Richard decides to give Kathleen the booty shorts, and then insists that she put on the booty shorts in front of everybody, and then kind of smacks her on the thigh, and it's just very not the way you act in front of your potential love interest parents, like if you're trying to impress the parents. Like, this is so disrespectful to me, and I have to wonder, would he have done this in an English home in front of well, he said himself, British women are harder. Yeah, because a British father probably would have told you to get the hell out of his house, acting like he probably would have called you a bloody wanker. that's that's what you probably would have got called and thrown out of the house on your neck. Homemaking Life says Richard keeps saying his humor. Nothing he says is humorous. Where's the joke? Exactly. I can't stand when people excuse me, I can't stand when people are just rude and then try to play it off like it was a joke. There was no punchline, there was no setup. It was just you being rude. That's how a joke works. There's a setup and there's a punchline. Sometimes if you're doing full stand-up comedy, there might be something that circles back around to your first joke. None of this is happening with what Richard is doing. He's just being a bonehead and thinking that that's comedy. Being edgy is not comedy. It's not 1994 on MTV. All right, let's move on to Emma. Oh, speaking of Emmas, shout out to the new subscribers. Y'all have been really cool. I had a great conversation with another young lady named Emma in the comments underneath last week's video for 90 Day Fiance UK. So by the way, if you're watching this on the replay, don't feel bashful about leaving a comment, because I still continue the conversation in the comments. So what's going on with Emma and Hossein? It gets kind of ugly with her. It starts off really nice. We'll go with the nice part first. Tony Man says, in my early 20s, I dated a rich white girl from Glastonbury, and because I took my hat off in their house, the father said I was trying too hard. I think it was more about class. Yeah, it probably was more about class. People can be very classist in New England. I mean, I can't speak for the rest of the U.S. I can only speak for the places I've lived in New England. There's definite classism. Just the way you're treated based on appearance alone. Certain what they call class indicators. And in Connecticut, it's a lot of times nails, your diction, your posture, how you walk. It's you would think that would be more just like hair and clothes, but no. In Connecticut specifically, there's a lot of like wealthy people that they are dressed like you don't see name brands on them. You don't see, brand new stuff that kind of dress understated in a way you would never know they have money. Some of them even driving older cars. Like when I lived in South Glastonbury, some of the wealthiest people, their cars are like, I got to plug in. I'm almost out of juice. They might be driving a 20-year-old car and be a millionaire. That's how Connecticut does. They don't like to flaunt too much because they see flaunting your wealth as like a new money thing. Let me see. Tony Man says, leave a comment and possibly Richard might show up and criticize. Yes, he did do that one time. And also on Instagram. He pops up whenever he's like Candyman. Don't say his name. No, he's like the bye-bye man. Don't think it, don't say it. So anyways, Emma goes to try on wedding gowns with her daughter. This is her daughter here with the really long hair, which it's kind of cool to see. I like that, seeing that come back. I think that's pretty. And two of her friends. And so we get to see some of the dresses that Emma tried on. They didn't like the first dress. I liked the first dress. I didn't think it was bad. I just think, it doesn't look as it should because this particular size didn't fit her, because when she turns around, you can see it's unzipped. So it's hard to get a good gauge for how the dress would look in her size. But I really like this one. The second one they didn't like. I thought it looked more like the mother of the bride dress than an actual bridal gown. It looks way more like mother of the bride dress. Even though for a lot of weddings, it's considered rude to wear white because they say you're outshining the bride. But I've seen weddings where everyone wore white. So that's it. I guess it just depends nowadays. And this is the third one, which everyone seemed to like the most. I didn't care for this one as much as the first one. What do you guys think? You think the third one, the second one, or the first one? I'll show them again. That's the third one, the second, and the first. I would have I would have encouraged her to pick the first one because I think the V-neck looks a lot nicer. You know what it is? It's because she has a shorter neck that the V-neck extends that silhouette, and I think that's what makes it look nicer to my eyes. I'm just explaining why to me it looked prettier than this one. I think the high collar doesn't look as nice on her as the V-neck did. I think the V-neck was more flattering. Later on, she has what she called a hen party. Yeah, I called it a bachelorette barbecue. I like bachelorette barbecue better. But she called it a hen party, and it looked like a lot of fun. I can't show some images because most of her party favors, as well as the piñata, were shaped like penises. So obviously, I don't think that I can get away with showing that on here. But I've never seen a penis piñata before. It had balls, too. I'm sorry. I had to at least describe it. Tony Man says they all look the same to me. Well, that's I was gonna say a typical man answer, but that's sexist. That's not a typical male answer. I perish the thought. Fomiki Latte says the first dress. Thank you. That's what I'm thinking. The first dress. And Chris Hurd says they had a sausage party. Yeah, literally. They literally had a sausage party. This is her group of friends. They're look at the variety of drinks that she served there is nice. I see a cocktail here, some wine. He might have, or she, they, I'm going to say they, sorry. They might have a smoothie, and this looks like a coffee drink. But her group of friends seem really, really chill. Like they gave off a real positive energy about them. And I thought that was really, really nice. Like they just seem like they're really there for her and in her corner. And I think that's a good thing to have. Tony Man says, I swear she called it a dick party or something like that. She might have. I might have missed her saying that. I might have missed her saying that. But it looked like it was a good time. Oh, she has a little dog too. It looks like a little chihuahua. But yeah, it looked like a good time. And that's, I mean, when something's positive, I'm going to say it's positive because we're about to get into the negative. And this is her arguing with Hossein, who she was upset because he didn't file his paperwork for the wedding. And so they had a falling out, and Hossein called her old, fat, and then said he didn't even love her. So then in retaliation, she told him that he had a small peen. Not in those words. She said in a much more colorful way. But, you know, YouTube standards, I can't say certain things. Oh, I already said dick party, didn't I? I did. Well, anyway, she told me he had a tiny dick. So since I already said dick party, I might as well just go ahead on with it. Then the oddest thing happens. She said that if he doesn't speak to her in a few days, there won't be a wedding. And I'm like, after he called you old, fat, and said he didn't love you, there shouldn't be a wedding. That's no, Emma. You don't need to go through that. I mean, I don't care how good looking you think this dude is. There's something to be said for respect, and you shouldn't tolerate this type of disrespect. Just because someone got angry with you, they shouldn't be insulting to you like that. That's nah. Chris says that relationship should have ended there. Exactly. And Tony says, I like her old ass better than Kimberly. Yeah, she does. She seems more grounded. Like, even though it's a similar situation where she's sending him money and she never said she sent him money, but she's definitely sending him gifts, which means she's spending her money on him to send him, I think he was holding up Jordans last time. So it's a similar dynamic of simping. That's what I'm going to call it, because that's what Kimberly is. But Kimberly's personality, I said yesterday, she seems like she is in Arrested Development. Like she doesn't sound like a woman in her 50s. And Emma is nearly 10 years younger than Kimberly. And she just seems like she's very lonely, and she really, really wants connection with another person. And I can't fault her for that. Everybody feels lonely sometimes. I just hope that she develops more self-esteem so that she doesn't take all this BS off of Hossein, because it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Kind of feel bad for her. Yeah, I do too. I feel bad for her because nobody deserves to be talked to this way. Especially after you bought him all these nice clothes and stuff. Nah. I mean, since they showed us the preview of the season, we already saw her standing there next to him getting married. We know what's going to happen, but I wish that there were better things for her. So hopefully, well, she talks to her friend about it, and her friend basically says the same thing that I just said. Kind of like, you deserve better than this. So shout out to her friends for not only being honest with her, but also shout out to her, because notice the difference in how she responded to her friends telling her the real versus how Kimberly responded to her friends telling her the real. Kimberly threw a fit and ran off like a middle school girl. I don't even think some middle school, that's an insult to middle school girls. I think there's some that are more mature than that. Whereas Emma took in what her friend's saying. She's still, because we saw the preview, ends up going back to them, but she didn't get mad at her friend, and she didn't storm off because her friend told her the real. Tony Man says, I can't wait to talk about the one I feel bad for. Okay, is it? Because I think, oh yeah, I have two more. because we finally get introduced to somebody. But let's go through Shaun and Christine. And how awkward is their little, like, this little, I should, next time I should screen record it so you could see the kiss on the cheek, and then they both turn and look at the camera, and it's very awkward looking the way, because it's staged. Like, it does, I'm not saying that they don't have these feelings for each other. I'm just saying that this particular thing looks really staged when they do it. And so we pick up with them cleaning up the house, and Christine is saying, well, for one thing, oh, I should have taken a picture of the sign. Why didn't I take a screen capture? She made a sign that said, if you want boom, boom, keep clean. And she literally posted it up on the wall. I should have taken a screen capture of that. She says that when she's working with Shaun to get the place clean, that she will just shout at him until he gets it right. And it made me think of all those people that try to stereotype Asian women as being quiet and submissive. And whenever I hear someone speak that way, I'm like, you don't know any Asian women in real life. You have no Asian friends, because you have no idea how strong Asian women are. They're very quite strong. And I think maybe people got this misconception from generations past, where maybe they didn't hear a lot of Asian conversations because they didn't speak the language. Number one, if you don't speak their language, you may not know what's being said, and you're assuming that because voices aren't raised, that something is not being said that is biting. A person does not have to raise their voice to speak their mind. I've learned this. And also, there's a cultural norm amongst at least the Asian friends that I have, and I'm not going to speak for all of Asia. I'm going to say specifically the friends that I've had that are from the Philippines, Vietnam, and Laos, where people typically believe, and this is also true for a lot of Caribbean women, including Guyanese women, where we're taught that it makes the family look weak to argue in public. So you don't argue in public. You just wait till you get home, and then you let your husband have it. That's just a cultural thing. But it doesn't mean that they're not letting their husband have it. It just means that, okay, I'm not going to disrespect you or embarrass you in public, but when we get home, you're going to hear about this. And so I think that's where people get this stereotype of Asian women being quieter when they're not, or being more submissive when they're not. Tony says, that's the guy. I feel bad for Shaun. He's trying at least to show he cares. Yeah, I think that Shaun is genuine with how he feels about Christine. Is it? Yeah, Christine. And he really is trying. Like, I don't think that he has a malicious bone in his body. Honestly, I don't think he would know how to be malicious. He just seems very, very honest. This is when Shaun is introducing Christine to his friend. Was his name Willie? Jimmy. I don't know why I said Willie. Jimmy. So they go meet at a restaurant, and they introduce Christine to Jimmy. This very nice scene starts off very nice until Shaun takes a phone call and steps away for a moment, and that's when Jimmy's messy ass decides he gonna ask Christine if baby Christian is Shaun's baby. And I'm like, that's like really, really bold of you to ask her that. That's super, super bold. And I get it. A lot of people said the same thing on Twitter, but I've also known, I said this last week, I'll say it again this week for anyone who missed last week. I went to school with two people that were Eurasian, meaning that they had one parent that's European and one parent that's Asian. Both of them looked 110% Asian, and you wouldn't have known that they were Eurasian unless they told you. So sometimes it's just a matter of strong ass genes. One person's genes just, drop kick the other parent's genes. I've seen that before. So I'm not so quick to question whether baby Christian is Shaun's or not. I could be proven wrong, but that's just me. Tony Man says, nah, that conversation with preacher dude made me laugh. I swear I've heard that type of irritation before. One shares a name with the painting of that witch, and the other runs a tailor shop. Conversation with a preacher dude. I mean, I know who runs the tailor shop, but I don't know. I don't know. Tony says he looks like a Willie. Old man. He does look like a Willie. He looks like his name would be William, but his name is Jimmy, which means his name is probably James. He's probably a James that goes by Jimmy. Chris says, it was great to see her show empathy towards him after finding he was going without sending her money. Yes, it was. That's rare to see on the show, someone actually acknowledging the sacrifice that another person on the show is making for them. So that was a really good scene for her to acknowledge the sacrifice that he made for her. Hopefully he gets his financial ducks in a row through, though, because the UK is expensive as heck. Yes, it is. And you're talking about my painting. You're talking about the nun? You're talking about the nun back there? Homemaking Latte says, I saw a video of Shaun wearing a tube top and coochie cutter singing to Christine. It looked like a private video, so I don't know how it got online. I've seen that video too. It popped up on Twitter. I didn't know what to say about it. But I have seen that video. I don't know what's going on. I showed you on the first time I reviewed this, because they showed it on the show, the video of her dressed up in the shopping bags with the lipstick around her mouth. I don't know what kind of weird, freaky stuff they're into, but it's not for me to judge. Maybe it'll come out later that they're going to try to do the OnlyFans thing like Colt did. And I'm still trying to figure out who is paying to see Colt's body. I know there's a lid for every pot, but I just cannot wrap my mind around it. So anyways, after Jimmy asks Christina's question, she tells him that's, in her words, a shitty question to ask. Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about now. See? I forgot all about that, Tony man. Yeah, you're right. What was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. Yeah. But yeah, I was the last thing I wrote is that I like her because I like that she did acknowledge the sacrifice that he was making, which he does again, because after this happens, he comes back to the table, finds out what Jimmy asked Christine, and then he politely checks Jimmy and it's just like, that's not for you to ask. And he did it in a nice way. Tony Man says, I thought Willie was the preacher. Oops, I meant Jimmy. No, I didn't hear anything about him being a preacher. I just knew that he was at one point Shaun's boss, who taught him how to do the custodial work that he does at the grocery store. I think he was his boss. At least that's how I remember him being introduced. So he checks his friend and says, that wasn't for you to ask my girl, dead that. And so they did that. But the next day he knows that Christine is feeling some type of way. So he takes her out to dinner, even though he really can't afford this. And that's why it was great for Christine to acknowledge his I want to say sacrifice. Yeah, it's sacrificing, because she says that he doesn't have any new shoes or new clothes because he's sending all his money to her and her children. And that she said, but then she said, once we pay off my credit card, saying once they pay off Christine's credit cards, then they'll get Shaun some new clothes and shoes. And Tony Man says, you're right, my bad. So that was a good segment. I enjoyed watching that. And their dinner looked good too. It looked like he was having a steak. I want a steak. So later we finally meet Caleb with one L. The couple is actually not Caleb, Calum and Marvin, and we go to Scotland, which is really, really cool for me to see, because I've never been to Scotland and it looks really, really cool. So I enjoyed getting to see more, or at least a little bit of Scotland. So we first see him going out with his friends and talking about Marvin. This is Marvin right here. Later, he talks to his mother also about Marvin. And again, nice kitchen. I'm loving these kitchens that I'm seeing. I really, really enjoy seeing these kitchens. Like, they're very, very nice. I don't know why I have a thing about kitchens. And he seems to have a very, very lovely relationship with his mother, which I enjoyed seeing as well. And so she's encouraging him, as far as his life is going, but she is cautioning him against moving too fast. And she's telling him, just take your time and get to know each other. You don't have to think about getting married so soon. Tony says it was Dream a Little Dream on multiple shows. Now it's Steak. They're programming us. Yeah, I noticed that too. They play Dream a Little Dream on The Boys, and they also play Dream a Little Dream on Stranger Things, and I don't know why that song keeps popping up. It could just be that because it's such an old song, because I believe the Dream a Little Dream that they played on Stranger Things was Ella Fitzgerald, and it might be public domain, and that's probably why they're using it, because they don't have to pay for the rights to use it. That's the only thing that makes sense to me why it would pop up on so many shows. So then later, Calum goes, he goes to a slumber party with his friends again, and they talk more about Marvin. And his friend says the same thing as his mother says, slow down, get to know him. They also have, the same things that they always ask on 90 Day. Well, do they just want a green card? I mean, at this point, I'm just so tired of hearing the do they just want a green card thing, because it's like an automatic assumption that where you live is better than where they live without even saying that. Like, it's kind of annoying. But I mean, I get it. It does happen sometimes, like with what's his name, Mohammed and Eve. Yeah, total green card situation. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying to automatically paint everyone with that same brush is just annoying. He does say that he has not met Marvin in person. They only started talking online, but they do also video chat. And he also mentions that at the pajama party that gay marriage is not legal in the Seychelles, and being openly gay has only been outlawed before 2016. So 2016 is when they first were able to live their authentic lives without it being a crime in the Seychelles, according to what Calum told his friends at the slumber party. Later on, it's like this whole thing is just Calum going around with his friends talking about Marvin. So later he goes out with his friend Becky, is her name? Yeah. And they also talk about Marvin coming to visit. It's like we've had 3 conversations of Calum. First, Calum went out with 2 friends, talked about Marvin coming to visit. Then he went in the kitchen with his mother and talked about Marvin coming to visit. Then he went to a slumber party and talked about Marvin coming to visit. Now he's going out with another friend talking about Marvin coming to visit. It was like a little repetitive. And I don't think we needed that much repetition. Let me see. Which he repeats again that it's illegal for him to get married to Marvin in Scotland. Then before, this is the other friend that he went out with. She seems lovely. She was nice, talking to him. Like all his friends seem pretty nice. Later on, he ends up having a video chat conversation with Marvin, and Marvin is saying, he's preparing for his trip, and he's looking forward to fly over to Scotland and see Calum. The only thing I don't understand is why does he have the phone in front of the tablet? Like, what's happening here? And who's on this? Yeah, I don't get this setup. If anybody knows what this means or why this is done, please let me know what this setup is. Why the phone, or maybe he's just using the tablet to prop the phone up because it doesn't have a kickstand. That's probably what it is, because my phone case has a kickstand that I can use. So maybe he has a phone case that doesn't have a kickstand, and he's using the tablet to prop it up. But then why is the tablet open? It looks like he's on another video call at the same time. I'm very confused. Like I would get it if the tablet screen was black. I don't know what's happening. Or is he reading a script pretending that he's video chatting and it's just a static picture of Marvin? I don't know what's happening in this scene. I don't know. Because TLC, they try to trick us with things sometimes. Sometimes we think that what we're seeing is real and not a reenactment, and sometimes it's a reenactment. It is what it is. Homemaking Latte says there's barely a relationship because they've only been dating for 2 months. Oh, I missed that. It's only been 2 months and you're already flying. Oh, that's really, really quick. It would take me 2 months to find a flight. Like that's how far in advance I would be planning an international trip is a minimum 2 months. So for you to only be dating in 2 months, when did you start planning the flight things? Like I don't know, that's moving super fast. I have to agree with his mother that he's moving too fast. Yeah, he's got to slow down. And then they're promising us next week that we're going to meet Jenny and Samit 2.0. This is our UK Jenny, who I think this is the person that Tony Man was saying, reminding him of the actress from American Horror Story. Yes, she reminds me of that too. The one that said, "Don't be a hater, dear," in the American Horror Story. What was the one with the witches? Coven. She reminds me of that actress from Coven. And then this time, oh, I forgot to say her name. She is Pat, I believe. And Sam, although Sam is not from India, Sam is from Pakistan, which is a neighboring country to India. At one point, Pakistan and India were the same country, but then they split in half. Well, not directly in half because Pakistan is much smaller than India. So, but they split in two. And so Sam is talking to Pat from Pakistan to UK. Is Pat in England or is she? I think it just said UK for her. I don't know whether she's in England or she's in Scotland or she's in Ireland. It would have been cool if we had someone from Ireland on the show too. But we just had a bunch of people from England, and then we don't have anyone from Wales either. I don't think. I think everyone is just from England, and then one person's from Scotland. And that's why they're calling it UK, because it probably would have been 90 Day England if it wasn't for the one person from Scotland. So next season of 90 Day UK, let's get some people in there from Ireland and from Wales. I want to see that. And Isle of Man, that would be one, another one, Isle of Man. Yeah. But we're now going into this is episode 6, right? Yeah. So why did we have to wait till episode 7 to meet this couple? They better be bringing it. Since you saved it for last. Tony Man says, I didn't say American Horror Story. I said Room 237 at the Overlook. That's messed up. That's messed up, Tony Man. I know. I'm recalling that you said that. I probably blocked it out because it's biting. That's biting. And I mean biting as in like a very sharp edge type of wit that is bordering on maybe too edgy for TV. I don't know. Y'all ready to get into some of these tweets? What did y'all think of this episode while I'm pulling up the tweets? Next, before I pull up the tweets, I'm going to do my little promo one more time. Friday, I'm going to be on Master of Chaos Television at 9 p.m. and we're going to be doing Full Moon Friday Night Fright Club. And we'll be talking about Arcade and Transfers 2. That is going to be a live stream at 9 p.m. Eastern on Master of Chaos TV. Saturday on my other channel, What I Just Watched, I'm doing a Akira live stream at 4 p.m. Eastern, where we'll be discussing the classic, I'm going to say horror sci-fi anime Akira. And then in case you missed it, last night we dropped a brand new episode of Hood Podcast where we talked about news of the strange, or actually international news of the strange. We talked about FN Mecca's grand opening, grand closing. We talked about a man trying to sell organs on Facebook Marketplace, and we talked about a floating train in China. So check those out when you get the chance. Now I'm going to go to the tweets. Excuse me. Okay, let's share. Okay. Foaming Key Latte says less Richard. And Tonyman says, final thoughts, Richard's a dick, and I like that dude who spends all of his money on his girl. Yeah. She'll probably put him on a budget. That's what she seems like she'll probably do to help him out. Okay, let's see what tweets we got here for. We'll start out with Nora K, who says Christine is the real MVP of this season. Hashtag 90 Day Fiance. Shaun may be gross and untidy, but he's a kind man at heart. And who's talking about Shaun. At Lincicle says Jimmy crossed the line. Shaun didn't express that he felt that Christian might not be his. He should have never asked. Mm-hmm. Tony said that sniff, it's better than a constant beeping of smoke detector that needs its battery changed. Yeah, I just didn't take my allergy medicine because the usual, you know that I'm allergic to Benadryl, so I can't take that. And the usual one I take, the store was out of it. And the other one that I have, I can only take at night because it makes me super drowsy. So I've been going all days without allergy medicine and just taking it at night because, like I said, it puts me to sleep. So if you hear me sniffling, that's why. Chris says, I'm kind of liking the UK version. It's a good mix of couples instead of everyone being stressful. Yes. Tony Man says, check your connection, your little robot-y. Okay, let me see. It says strong. Maybe it fixed itself. Sometimes it does it. Sometimes yesterday it kind of like went down and it started like the lights were like flashing on it and then it went back to normal. Okay, let's see here. Where did I leave off? I just read Lincicles. Allison Marie Waddell says, does Richard from 90 Day Fiance UK realize what a villain he is? It is amazing in a bad way to me that he has a total lack of self-awareness. That's the term, self-awareness. I agree with that. Poor girl. I feel so bad for her. Mm-hmm. Nor K says, I don't know who's worse at ruining a nice moment, Belial or Richard. It's a tie. It's a tie. Mina Kreider Green says Richard is like trying to be an a-hole. I just would have put a-hole. Richard is like trying to be an a-hole. He has no filter, and his so-called humor is degrading of Kathleen. You do not give such shorts in front of her parents. That's a private gift. Mm-hmm. It shows that he has no respect for her or her parents or her family or her culture or himself. Jasmine says, I like Christine. Her noticing that Shaun purchases nothing for himself in service of her, their child, and her children is something not always seen on this show. Exactly. Tonyman says, please tell me you have Richard's response to someone about the camel toe tattoo. I believe I do. I believe I do. Olivia says, OMG, boom, boom is a common phrase, not just an Annie and David thing. Apparently so. Alexis says, Richard is a first-class cockwomble. Run, Kathleen, run. I retweet that just because of the cockwomble. I've never heard that word before. I'm guessing it's a British euphemism. I think it's hilarious. Hopefully it's not super like offensive. You know, like how they say CUNT over there, but in America, that would calling someone that would get you punched in the face. I wonder. Yeah, this was the line that I had. I think I purposely blocked out the whole thing. Demon Kills, maybe that's what it's pronounced like, says, I think 99.99% of women watching this, even some men, do hate him for the way he is, except for Kathleen. Shaking my head. Yeah, because it said he said, hate me all you want. So it's like he thinks that he's being edgy, and it's like, no. Diary of an OTD Girl says, this is a mother and son I could watch more of. Yeah, I agree. I thought that their scenes were very nice. Pebbles Pebbles San Vicente says, Jen's face is my face listening to Richard saying that bullsh. She's everybody's face. This is how we all felt. Marcelo says, if you guys like 90 Day Fiance but think this last season was trash, let me introduce 90 Day Fiance UK. In this image, we see Christine, who would probably love for Belial to step out and tell her this is all a prank. And she's saying here, it's a for anyone that's listening but not looking at the screen, it's a picture of Kathleen pretty much with her coat wrapped around her and her arms wrapped around her cold, saying, at Shaun's flat, I never experienced this kind of cold. Which, yeah, if you're coming from the Philippines to UK or even to any northern part of US, you're going to feel cold. Even if you move around, because when I went south for college, because I went to college in Florida, the first Christmas break that I returned home to Connecticut, I was so cold. I never felt so cold in my life. And it was because my body had adjusted to the warmth of Florida. I believe this is the post that Tony Man was talking about. 90 Day Yala, I think it's Yala. 90 Day Yala says, in case you were confused, like us, why they got camel tattoos, Richard told us the reason. And so they wrote, literally our reaction to Alejandro on this episode. We love you, Katie and Alejandro. Congrats. UK episode 5 came out now. And then Richard pops up and says, a camel toe is when a woman's labia is prominent through the pants, making it look like a camel's toe. Winking face emoji. Then 90 Day Yala says, well, thank God you got a camel as a tattoo and not an actual camel toe. And then reality scrub, I think this is from yesterday, but still, the things people do to extend those 15 minutes. Yeah, no. And I just noticed the second time around, his mic pack, the microphone is still taped on him, and he's holding the mic pack in his hand. Oh God, poor what do you call it? Sound person that has to deal with this. Let me take that off the screen. Because nobody deserves to look at that. Tony Man says, I remember going to Richard to pick someone up. Richmond. I remember going to Richmond to pick someone up, and in the morning it was 35, and all I kept thinking was, get me back to Florida. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Richmond, Virginia. Once your body changes and adapts, it's hard to adapt back. It took me, like, after college and I went back home, it took me probably a good 2 years to adapt back to the cold. And then I ended up moving back to Florida, and it took me another 2 years to adapt back to the warm. So now, I mean, as you can see, it's August in Orlando. I'm wearing a sweatshirt because I'm indoors and the AC is at about 75. So for at 75 degrees, I feel a little bit chilly. But then when I go outside, it's like, Alexa, what's the temperature?
Right now, it's 91 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
Tonight, expect a low of 76 degrees.
Yeah, so you see what the temperature is outside right now. But I would stay longer and talk, but like I told you guys, my head is right now, it's like a dull throbbing because I took some BC powder before getting on. I did everything.
I don't know that.
Alexa, stop. I did everything you're supposed to do when you have a headache. I had something to eat, make sure that I wasn't a hunger headache. I drank plenty of water to make sure it wasn't a dehydration headache. I even took a little bit, well, the BC powder is like an aspirin, but it has a little bit of caffeine in it. So sometimes that helps with the headache. It could be sinus headache, come to think of it, since I have allergy medicine. That's probably what it is. It's probably a sinus headache. Anyways, let me get out of here. Tony Man says, I wear my sweatshirt because I have the AC at 70. Yeah. You have to, because when you go outside, then you can take it off. Tony Man says, drink coffee. I drank decaf. I didn't drink fully caffeinated coffee because I haven't drank caffeinated coffee in several weeks. I've weaned myself off, and I feel like if I drink caffeinated coffee, I'm going to be addicted again. So I drank decaf. Chris says Alexa is so nosy. Yes, she is. And she always talks about, I think I can help you with that. How about you don't? Chris says the show was great once again. Thanks. I appreciate it. Sometimes I wonder if I'm getting better at this. I know I got to get better with more the technical aspect of it because I know I've been filming just using my laptop camera. I do have another camera that I can connect to the laptop that might look better. I might try that next week. I'm gonna have to like fiddle around with some things. I have a green screen too. I might do something with the green screen to try to improve the production quality of what I'm doing right now because I feel like it's really kind of janky looking. Uh, Toyman says again, you're awesome. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Let me get out of here so I can go drink some more water. Maybe I probably just go ahead and take the allergy medicine. If I fall asleep, I fall asleep. It's after 5 o'clock now. You know, it is what it is. Just anything to stop the headache. So let me cue up my whole ending thing here. And I need to redo these too because I don't like how they look. So I want to change them out and get something a little bit snazzier. But that's all for now. I will see y'all next Monday, unless you come through on my other channel to see what's popping. Take care.